We welcome you back to Detroit. And while we were gone, Thomas Smallwood in the 4th left a 3-10 split. He cleaned that one up. And in the 5th, left the 1-2-4-8, also able to drop them all. Belmonte in the 5th, strike in the 6th, same deal. Back to action now, Smallwood in the 6th and down by 47.
Tom Smallwood leaves a soft hand. And Rob, you know, this form, not all that different than Jason Belmonte's. He does use his thumb, but he only puts it in halfway, and he kind of guides the ball back with both hands until the ball gets to about his hip.
Good ball. Ball.
Thomas Smallwood's going to make a ball change. Let's take a look at the way these two players are playing this oil pattern. Jason Belmonte way in the 21st board. Tom Smallwood is out around the 8th board. So about 14 to 15 boards difference. Remember, Thomas Smallwood's throwing at 3 miles an hour slower, and he's got 100 fewer RPM.
He was telling us about the great fan support he's received, not just from local people, but others that have worked at General Motors, been laid off by General Motors, retired from General Motors. Kind of has a whole GM fan crew here cheering him on, and they're hoping he can rebound here in the 7th.
Moved into where Jason Belmonte is. Maybe just not a strong enough bowling ball for that angle, as it looked like it labored a bit down the lane.
Not only is he a finalist here at the Scorpion Championship, Smallwood will be bowling for his first major, and it's the first major of the season in a few weeks. It's the PBA World Championship. There he'll face Chameleon champion winner Bill O'Neill. On the other side of the bracket will be reigning player of the year Wes Malott and Viper champ Rhino Page. You can see the PBA World Championship live from North Rock Lanes in Wichita Sunday, December 13th, 1 p.m. Eastern. Jason Belmonte wired up. We can talk to him throughout our match as part of PBA Inside Angle.
What kind of adjustment did you make in the 4th frame, Belmo?
I was using a pretty strong ball. I jumped in at the last couple of shots in practice, and it looked okay. 4-9, didn't throw it that bad, and then the next two, I actually thought I felt like I threw it a little softer. They hooked a little earlier, so I just ball changed to something a little weaker, and then actually stood in the same spot and tried to throw it good.
Thanks, Jason.
There is Mrs. Belmonte, Kimberly. They are due again in late December, expecting a girl.
Pretty good.
Crack open that 6-pack for the Aussie.
.209 possible for Tom Smallwood if he strikes out. Jason Belmonte right now is in the 230s. And right now in cruise control.
A great recovery after that open frame 8 in the 1st. He has been flawless since. And nobody can jinx him like me.
Wow, just when he had his foot firmly planted on Tom Smallwood's throat, just let him off the hook. You see where he's been when he was successful, right around the 21.5 board, 22.5 board. That last shot, a good 3 boards right. The result on this tough oil pattern, washout.
And here's Jason on the disadvantages of being a two-handed roller.
I think the biggest disadvantage I have is probably, a set of eyes to look at my style and say, Jace, you're a little off here, or because not many people know my game as well as I do, but they aren't very familiar with the two-handed style. So you really do have to ask a lot of guys that you've spent a lot of time with, traveled with, and who have seen you bowl, good and bad, and hopefully they have a good eye to help you out. So, for me, the hardest thing is to get that advice physically. The best part about being a two-handed bowler, though, is I'm very open to suggestions.
Hard for him to throw it real straight. Hard for him to go right to left, although you don't do a whole lot of that. on tour, although Walter Ray and Norm Duke have made a fortune doing that. But he can't grab it at the bottom either because his thumb isn't in it. Hard to pinch it off.
Not acceptable.
Also, he has to learn the ways of living out here on the road on the PBA Tour. That's an adjustment in itself.
Gets all to drop to Smallwood.
This kid's had a nice run here at the World Series of Bowling. I know he's hurting. He doesn't feel well. Not the greatest of ball reactions. Probably has a lot to do with how he's feeling physically. But he's had a nice run here.
We will see him in mid-December in Wichita, though, at the PBA World Championships. The first major of the season coming your way live from Wichita in mid-December.
We'll take a 4-pin on that one.
Hey, you can see what Jason's trying to do, and that's the real firm ball speed, keeping it tight. Going about 4th arrowed to about 12 and back. So he's playing a pretty tight line for a guy that with the big heavy hand and the high rev rate. Normally you'll see that type of player with a bit more of an arc to that shot.
Okay.
Four pins to shut him out.
All right, have a look.
And that'll do it.
That was a test shot, Rob.
Well, Jason, that one wraps it up. You move on to the championship match. Strikes 2 through 7. What was working for you?
Yeah, the ball. It let me miss left. The other ball I couldn't miss too far left. This one let me miss left. Clearly, when I miss right, it has no chance. So I'm going to have a long think about this in between the break and just see what's going to be the best reaction. I think the further I move left for this ball, the more trouble I'm going to get into. So.
All right, Jason, thanks for your time. Good luck in the championship match. So Belmo moves on when we return to Detroit, semifinal number 2. Sean Rash taking on Mike Devaney.